Hello and welcome back to a round of sampling. This is the soiree, the big exciting party at the end of step 2 of our life beginnings and always. And we're at a party with our good buddy and best pal, Derek Suarez. So we're going to move on to something else. Derek? Could we find a place to sit? Oh, this is all we get to do? We can't... Yeah, she wouldn't want to socialize.
Obviously.
Oh, yeah, we've got to have a place to sit. Let me just... He checked out the area, swiveling his head around. When Derek couldn't get a good enough view, he hopped up into the air. That one looks open over there. I think so, too. He sit at the edge of the party area, where it was quieter and a few people cluttered around. Derek hustled to reach the table first. Don't worry, I'll get that for you. He pulled out a chair and waited. Ah! You! At least Cove isn't this considerate and thoughtful. Damn it! She doesn't want to be treated like this. Thank you. You passed Derek without a word and sat in a different chair. Yes. You're a real gentleman, I'm fine. You accept the gesture. Yes. This.
Oh.
Derek bashfully pushed it back into place, completely empty. Then Derek swung around to the table and got into his own chair, the one right across from you. Derek, you should know by now, Marina does not like this kind of special treatment, mans. She not like that. Where'd you learn all your manners? Have you been to formal parties before? Have you been to formal parties before? Not a summer soiree, but quinceañeras, weddings, that sort of stuff. Yeah? That's nice. They were pretty fun. I used to go to a lot of, like, family weddings when I was a kid, and, like, graduation parties and stuff. We did that, like usually a couple every summer, and they were kind of fancy parties. You didn't really have to dress up for them, but there was this kind of stuff. Food and dancing and, you know, all the good stuff. I really like dancing. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that. We won't be dancing as Marina, unless it's forced on us, which I don't think it's going to be, but I personally love dancing. I would dance all the time. I used to go to like every high school dance, every middle school dance, because I like dancing, not because I like socializing or crowds. As an adult, it's harder to find that kind of outlet because you pretty much have to go to like a dance club to dance, and I'm not doing that. If people ever still have weddings and events, I would definitely do it, but I don't get invited to many of those anymore. Although someday I'm hoping there might be some in my future because I've got some friends that still might, you know, do that sort of thing. And I'm hoping maybe, you know, it becomes a thing. Derek leaned all the way back, giving a grin. Now that you have a spot of your own, you stayed chatting Derek at the table. The conversation continued until you felt refreshed and ready to go again. Alright. Is there anything you'd want to do? Letting the next move be up to him, Derek restlessly looked around the party. He'd squinted his eyes and really considered the possibilities. Then he gave an unassertive answer. I would never know what to do at something like this. There'll probably be better cutouts for this, but just in case, I do like this expression on his face. This is almost Jamaican patois material. Except the Jamaican patois will be racist. Because it doesn't know how to not be racist against Derek's family. Also, let's talk about this country club. I did go to a golf club for a while. I took lessons when I was in high school. And I love golf courses. This is pretty cool what they've got here. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it, but it's just... These wicker chairs, though, they look nice and comfy. I like wicker chairs.
Well...
It wouldn't be a big deal. Would it be alright if you showed me around? I've never seen any of this place, so, like, could we go on a walk? Derek's pointed fingers tapped a rhythm across the edge of the table like he was filling out his answer and text on a typewriter. Definitely, I'll be your expert tour guide. Thanks. Derek enthusiastically bounded from his seat. He got to your feet, too. You led him down a familiar stone walking path you knew would get far. What? That doesn't make sense. You led him down a familiar stone walking path you knew would get far. Your lovely stroll around the country club grounds began in earnest. The bustling sounds of the party soon faded away, replaced by whispers of cricket songs and their serene summer breeze. See, Cove just kind of runs away. Along the way, you gestured outward to point at what buildings were what, from what simple storage sheds to a special club rooms for VIP members. And you were able to tell Derek all about the golf holes in the distance that you passed as you passed them by, including how good or bad your big sister was at completing them. You had a chance to tell a funny story when one time she got a penalty for a strike that landed in a water hazard. I think we probably could have said earlier when we were talking to Kyra that we also like golfing. She probably would have tried it, at least. But I don't know if she'd be as interested in this because it's not as active as a sport. She jumped right into the little pond to retrieve the ball and tried to pretend it never happened while dripping wet. Derek was as amused as he was amazed. He engaged with you by making all silly guesses about what you would tell him about next. I can see Lizzie being like this. I get her in her little gloves and her little golf skirt jumping in the pond, and oh my god, I love. Can we just get like a Lizzie DLC where you play as Lizzie for No. Derek jokingly suggested that a normal garage was a research facility studying how to add extra green to the grass. Oh, I get it. Yeah, they have little sheds and garages there, I guess, at these golf courses to like store all the stuff they need to care for the things. And golf courses are incredibly unsettlingly green, and I love it. You were so absorbed in your companion in the outing, and having a good space to yourself that you didn't realize the growing humdrum around you until it was right around the corner. Derek paused. He had noticed it too. Oh. His eyebrows quirked as he tried to reason out the disturbance.
Huh?
Is that people? Did we make a loop, or did I just miss that? And I just missed that. No, we're on the opposite end. It's about as far away from the event area as we could be. Curiously, Derek took big strides while mentally puzzling over what you said. Holy crap, it's a completely different area. Together you passed by a large wall to reveal another seating area. It was filled with formally dressed people. Oh! Oh! That you go here in one of the Baxter moments, and it's a restaurant, and I thought that was the same area you had the soiree in, but this is a completely different... They made two separate different backgrounds at this golf course. Well, how bizarre is this?
Whoa.
A second party. None of the faces scattered about were the regular members. Each one was as unrecognizable as any stranger off the street. You had your points of focus, and Derek had his own totally separate ones. He spoke aloud to share what he noticed. The tables have cloths, and I think the chairs didn't look like that back where we were. No, they weren't. They were wicker. Actually, this kind of feels like we got stuck in some alternate reality version of our soiree, where everything else is still really fancy, but also still different in weird ways. Yeah, it's a different kind of fancy. This is like upscale. This is rich people fancy. We're just like middle-class people fancy. That's funny, but really, you're right, that has to be the answer, you joked. That'd be horrible. You shrugged over Derek's exaggerating. You giggled over Derek's misunderstanding of things. You're right, that has to be the answer. Hey, you're the one who's supposed to know the real answer. Okay, actually, this is our outdoor dining and seating for other types of events, ones that aren't the normal soirees. I never have a reason to go here when visiting with my moms. I kind of thought it'd be empty with a soiree happening. Derek's gaze wandered across the area, taking in another shrewd look. Yeah. Why be in this place when there's food and pretty lights over in the patio? And there's way more teens than at our party. Tons of them look like they're our age. This is mysterious. Oh! Are we gonna meet Boy? Because this will be the party that Baxter's at. For, like, yeah! Holy crap! The long list of questions didn't bother Derek. Quite the opposite. Playing detective was something he was having fun with. It's time to get to the bottom of this. I'm gonna ask somebody what's up. Good idea. What? Are you really gonna do that? You whispered nervously. Tally-ho, Watson. You went along with him. You shrunk down uncomfortably. Tally-ho, Watson. Does Sherlock really say tally-ho? I don't know. It sounded right.
I gotcha.
You got a point. The two of you boldly headed into the thick of the family reunion. Business meeting, wedding, secret society meeting, or whatever it was. Soon you would know. Yes! Holy shit! You can meet him in Derek's moment. It's teenage Baxter. I hate you so much, but it's him. His hair's not white, but you can tell the black and white tie and the freaking it's Baxter Ward. Damn it! The subject Derek zeroed in on was a tall kid, maybe a little older than you, and him, who stood on the edges of the crowd by themselves. Most everyone else was part of a group or one-on-one conversation, but not that person. Their hair was short, swooping black strands that framed a pointedly petite face. Their dark brown eyes were heavily lidded. On second glance, you also noticed there was a small mole on their neck. You wouldn't have been surprised that people often told them they were pretty. The rest of their skin was a pale white, the kind that had somehow escaped any tanning, freckling, or even sunburning in California's summer rays. Derek offered a friendly wave once he was close enough for it to be clear that he wasn't just passing by. Okay, no. We need to encompass all of this. All of this. They knew what they were doing. So they made this before they made the Derek DLC. But I mean, not the Derek DLC, the Baxter DLC. But I guess they knew Baxter existed. But this is like the first coming of Baxter. Well, he was in the regular game too. Never mind. My mind is blown by the fact that we're actually meeting Teenage Baxter. Hey, so this might sound weird, but what are you guys all doing here? A coy smile came across the stranger's face. No, don't cut him off. We're visitors who are in town for a dance circuit. This dining area is reserved for our group only tonight. What is going on with you? The tables were immediately turned. You and Derek had questions to answer for. He rubbed his cheeks and chuckled uncomfortably.
Oops.
We didn't know that. There's a soiree happening on the other side of a club for members and their guests. That's where we came from. Please don't tell on us. And Marina is dressed like really freaking like casual with this too. Like these guys are super fancy. Marina just looks like, oh my god. I love it. I can't wait to meet him in step 3 now. That got them to open their eyes completely. They even leaned forward a bit, much more engaged in conversation. I thought I noticed something that way. It's been bothering me the entire evening. I was planning to check when it got darker. Yeah, well, that's what it is. Sorry for crashing your party. Also, it's weird. He's got his hand in his pocket, and he's not, like, doing the weird, like, hand... Oh, no, he's always hands in his pocket, man. Never mind. Don't apologize. The self-described dancer's eyes sunk back into their half-open state as their lips curved even further. The smile had become a true smirk. I'm still going to yours when I get the chance. The mutual exchange of secrets brought up a lighthearted sense of camaraderie between your tiny group. Are we just gonna hang... Oh, no. But it didn't last. They inclined their head in a slight nod before breezing away. Of course, because Baxter doesn't ever want to form connections with people. He just wants to, like, be like, oh yeah, you don't, who cares, I'm Baxter, or whatever. I'm not actually ever going to be part of your life, and I deserve to be alone. Bye, good luck with your dance circuit and everything else. Goodbye, have a nice life, thanks for talking to us. You watched them leave. Yeah, good luck not getting caught. You lifted your arm up and waved. Have a nice life. As soon as your vague acquaintance mixed back into the crowd of fellow suited performers, Derek wrapped his arms around his chest. Okay, I feel way more out of place now that we're not even talking to anybody. Let's go back to the path before one of the adults realizes we're not supposed to be here. It's gonna be like that movie with the aliens who take over people when they point and yell at real humans. Where they point and yell at real humans. That's so freaky. Right, we've gotta go. Wait, they can't tell. Let's join this party. If you want to leave, I don't mind. Could we stay? That's scary, I don't want to leave. That's not gonna happen, Derek. We can hang out here. Yeah, no, she wouldn't want to stay here. She wouldn't. I think she would have gotten weird vibes from Baxter. And she would have gotten weird vibes from the party in general. We've got to go. Derek's expression tense with grim seriousness. I wonder what happens if you stay. I don't think that she would want... Marina wouldn't want to, but I really want to know what happens if you do. He took an extra step towards you, never taking his eyes off your surroundings. Some of the guests had already begun directing lingering glances to the two of you, unsure of your presence there. Although... the idea of crashing this people's fancy party is kind of amusing to her. But that's okay. She would be... The closeness allowed you to hear the conspiratorial words under his breath. How are we going to handle this? We need to hide? We can escape faster if we get on the grass. We need to just pretend we belong and walk out. I've got no clue. You froze. We need to just pretend we belong and walk out. Trying to ignore the stairs, you made your break for it. You hooked an arm around Derek and you began to walk. You took a breath and began to walk. Derek evened his poise and came up to your side. He held his head high, chest out, chin pointed, and pumped his arms back and forth in time with his footsteps. The act was more parody of a fancy pants rich person than normal human at a get-together. But Derek always had to give things his all. Foot by foot, the way to freedom grew ever closer. After passing a group of people, an unfamiliar voice hit your ear from behind. "Excuse me, do you know where your parents are?" The server may have honestly been wondering, or it might have been a veiled method to call you out as not belonging in the politest way possible. That didn't change the fact that you were spotted waltzing around a private party you weren't invited to. The next sound that made its way through your pounding heartbeat was a far more familiar whisper.
Shoot.
Run! You didn't need to hear anything else. The two of you were in sync. Like a switch was hit, you burst up to your full height and used the momentum to launch yourself towards the forward past the failed hiding spot. Run! And that weird song. Your dramatic escape caused a minor ruffling of feathers throughout the crowd. Shouts of "Hey!" and "Stop running!" could be heard over the confusion of what was going on. It was just as Derek had feared. But no one was actually chasing after you, as far as you could tell. I doubt if we stayed longer we could interact with Baxter anymore. Baxter being Baxter, I'm sure he'd just be like, "Oh, yes, I have to get back to this. Nice. I'd like to say it's nice meeting you, but I'm Baxter Alexander Ward, and I don't give a shit." However, neither you nor Derek was taking chances, and you kept up the frantic pace. You were escaping the metaphorical aliens. Your throbbing heartbeat was caught up in your throat as your pounding feet held you down the same track you'd come from. You knew dressing casually was the right call. It served you well for situations like this, that you somehow ended up in. Yeah, she does not look like she belongs anywhere at these places right now. It seemed that you and Derek had a knack for winding up in positions that required a hasty retreat. At least that time you could get away for good. You wouldn't have to go home and face the music like when you ditched Elizabeth on that first day of vacation. Wait, what? I'm trying to remember when this happened. We ditched Elizabeth on the first day of vacation? Did we do that? Oh yeah, we went and stole the edible bouquet and went out into the street. Yeah, I guess that kind of counts. Once you'd made it halfway back across the country club, you finally slowed to a full stop, breathing a sigh of relief. Your face was flushed with heat, but a chill began to seep in as the evening wind brushed over the beads of sweat in your skin. You had goosebumps along your arms. It was invigorating. Meanwhile, Derek wiped his forehead with the palm of his hand, likely missing those plush wristbands he almost always had on, and glanced up at the sky. Oh yeah, he's not wearing his wristbands.
Good job, team.
Looks like we shall live to see another day. See, there's that good job team they could have used in other moments. Let's do this again. Another victory in the bag. We're practically criminal masterminds now. This better be the last time we do this, Derek, you teased. We're practically criminal masterminds now. We went from being Sherlock to being Moriarty. Yeah, basically, and if I had to have a partner in crime, it's cool that it's you. The rest of the walk back was indeed a walk. You could relax at a slow pace, enjoying the quiet reassurance of being alone with Derek. The rest of the world was unable to reach you for a little while. Nightfall had long passed by the time you and Derek found your way back under the dazzling lights of the summer soiree. Mom would say it was not fashionable to be late, but maybe... Mom would say it's not fashionable to be late, but maybe it was when it's your second time arriving to a party. It might have been to Derek. He took in the scene with new eyes, amazed once again by the elegance surrounding him. With a tilt of his head, he shed a chummy grin at you.
Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely did have to be here for this. It's like a real-life movie. It's living a real-life movie instead of watching one. What do you mean instead of? Were you going to do something else tonight? For a second, he didn't speak, frozen in place. Then Derek deflated like a free balloon from the shopping street. His shoulders sunk low and forward. He bent on his knees. Well, actually, we were all gonna go to the movie theater. Mom, Dad, and the bros. It was something we knew would be today for a couple weeks. Oh no! You canceled your movie plans to come harass Baxter at a party with me? Damn it. But then you called and you asked me to go to the party and I said yeah, and I didn't even think about how there was already a plan for that day. He snickered at himself, eyebrows pinching together tightly. It was kind of awkward when I had to tell my parents I couldn't call you back and say I wasn't going to go after all and beg them to let me miss the movie. Luckily, they could tell this was a matter of life or death and still wanted their son around. still wanted their son around, so they managed to bring me over. Derek and you were somehow equally shocked by this explanation.
Man.
I always used to remember those things. They were big deals, and now this happened. He sighed, baffled and frustrated. The green-eyed boy had lost the metaphorical keys to his own thoughts. When I was a kid, my family going to the movies was a big deal too, because we barely ever did it. It was like when special movies came out, like the Batman movies or Star Wars or things like that. I gotta do better next time. You already do more than anyone I know. My mom said this night is me growing up. I think you're growing up too. You're kind of impulsive, huh? Derek, the impulsive strikes again. You are 13. If it helps, I'm so happy you wanted to see me so much. You didn't have answers, so you didn't have an answer you could give. You are 13. Well, yeah. You don't have to be that hard on yourself. A lot of adults aren't even put together.
Wow.
Maybe. And Marina?
I
want to say I'm the one who forgot I was doing something and had to skip out in the family movie. You didn't make me abandon them or anything, so I hope you don't feel bad about it. Thanks, Derek. She wouldn't feel bad about it at all. That's his decision. No worries, just checking. Derek scuffed the base of his back slip-on loafers against the ground as words faded away. Oh god, I hate slip-on shoes. Always have. I never will wear slip-on shoes. I like having shoes I can slip on if I gotta run out somewhere real quick at my apartment and do something quick, but I don't wear slip-on shoes. I like to tie my shoes. I like the feeling of tied shoes. I don't know. Anyway. Then he lifted his head to look somewhere past you. Oh, hey, the music's playing. He spoke softly like he was afraid he'd bring the melodies to an end if he interrupted them. I cannot read today. I'm sorry. I'm excited to do this, but my voice is just apparently not. But Derek was right. Once he brought it to the front of your mind, the rest of the world came back in, the sounds of delicate plucks on strings included. There was no crowd gathered to dance, only a few couples spread out across the space. You must have missed the initial stream of soiree attendees. It had grown late. Well, since we're here already and everything, would you want to dance with me? The question ended on a hopeful upward inflection. He bounced up on his heels once to punctuate it. Derek stopped breathing entirely when his sentence was complete. I think she would do it for Derek. He canceled his family's movie night. He didn't go to his family's movie night and all that. I think she would do this for Derek. She's not heartless. She's already been kind of a jerk. She's not gonna have... It's not her first choice, but... I would, Derek.
Nice.
Derek's cheer was pure carefree even. The worries from right before vanished as quickly as he'd forgotten the movie. There was a trend with him, with you. Sweetly, he brought up a hand for you to take. He wrapped yours around him. It was still a bit sweaty from earlier, so was yours. He took to the wide open floor and turned to face each other directly. Raising one arm with Derek's, you positioned your hand on Derek at the same time. He followed your move with sharp focus. Your bodies were close enough together, and there was enough of a size difference that you had to tilt your head down to look at your partner for the dance. Yeah, she's a bit taller than him, huh? That's what's funny here. But, you know, I did a lot of slow dancing in my time, too. It's interesting. I don't know. It can be very casual, just normal thing to do with people. When your eyes met, you felt your hand being squeezed much more tightly than Derek probably realized. Derek's face had gone a deep shade of red. He tentatively moved as one. Derek stepped lightly, never so much pinching the tips of your toes. So this is important to Derek, and we'll find out why later, but... Each sway transitioned better than the last, though there wasn't much of a flow. Derek danced more like a machine, clinking exactly into place at the right intervals. There was tension in Derek that he tried to play off with a joke. Yeah, imagine if we danced with Baxter. Ooh.
Hey.
Check it out, we're totally dancers. We totally are dancers. They should have let us join that other party. His stiffness and the delivery only made the wine funnier. You had to crack a smile. Derek let the conversation drift away, focus returned completely to a proper performance. You didn't speak either. We're not gonna lean over... No, we're not doing this. The notes washed over both of you. You were happy. Eventually, the last other guests returned to their tables to rest. It was only you and him left there. In a small voice, Derek let you know what was on his mind. Hey, sorry we kind of missed the party. I shouldn't have made you take me around everywhere. Huh, Don't worry about it, I just hope you had fun. I've been to a ton of these parties, it doesn't matter to me. What? That was way more fun. You shrugged it off, even reassured. I was waiting for this. I could have done anything at the beginning. No. That was way more fun. Really? Thanks. I liked hanging out tonight. I'm still having fun right this exact second. I'm really glad I brought you. Thanks for trying to make things a good time. You quieted, enjoyed. Thanks for trying to make things a good time. The tips of his eyebrows folded up in a bend. He was relieved. He was touched. Yeah, because, like, she wouldn't have wanted to be here and just hanging out at this boring-ass party. But we went over and crashed the fancy dancer party and met Baxter. And this is absolutely, like, what it is. Was it a good time, though? It wasn't annoying? It was great, Derek. He brought him to a loss for words. Oh, you know what? Maybe I won't put Baxter in the... No, we have to. Blissfully and with a dizzy tilt, Derek grinned at that charming smile of his. You always knew Derek was a friend you could count on. Even for something as formal as a summer soiree, you could relax. The feeling of connection was mutual. Derek was buzzing with the kind of energy you only got when it was bouncing off the best of company. It made Derek break out of his self-imposed mold. He tucked his left hand around your back and spun both of you around.
Let's go.
Whoa.
Let's go.
Definitely. I could try. We already were, but okay. You answered by shifting your own hand to hold on more tightly. We already were, but okay. Cool. The two of you twirled like ballerinas. As you pushed and pulled your bodies apart and back together, your mom would have said you cut a rug across the soiree floor. Somehow you felt like a kid again, where it didn't matter what you did or who might be watching. The world was yours to enjoy. She would enjoy this kind of stuff, just letting go. And she's not a very good dancer. Derek had clearly embraced the mindset with a little impromptu tap dancing to the beat, bringing you along the whole way. You cheered and laughed together until you lost your breath, and even so, you kept going. Yeah, see, she would... they're the same person. Then all too soon, the song reached its conclusion. You could have continued quite contentedly for some time more. You and Derek let your arms drop down in front of you, though one hand stayed linked with his, and your feet remained rooted where they were. Yeah, I think she had a way better time with Derek than she would have with Cove. I don't think it would have been nearly as funny as if we'd hung out with Cove. Derek let your arms swing together between you and him like you were little kids in the playground. Then again, we have sporty, like, Warm Cove, who's not, like, so awkward, so he might have been more interesting. He took the initiative to finish your performance with flair by giving a properly formal curtsy, which still never letting go of you. Derek crossed his legs and swept his back down. Legs bent, he lifted his head to face you and winked. Somehow you found some giggles left inside. You heard your name called out and Derek gasped. You both spun around to find Mom yelling for you and Derek. Besides her, Ma was still shaking her head.
Sorry.
It's time to get home. Lonnie and I had to get a hold of them somehow. It's time to go home, Lonnie. I had to get a hold of them somehow. What did you want me to do? Sneak up on them? Her chosen method was admittedly better than that, but the timing was still terrible. Derek breathed a sigh of relief after the shock wore off. The show had thrown him back to earlier in the evening when unknown adults were also yelling after you. He lifted up one cheek with a lopsided smile.
Phew.
Looks like we're getting away with it. The getaway ride is here. The two of you shared a private laugh while your parents watched the reaction in confusion. You were so glad you got a chance to dance with Derek after all your misadventures at the party. Excluding the scene at your mom's, it had been the perfect ending to this evening. And it had to end somewhere. You didn't need to say anything to him. The two of you strolled together again, over your parents, who were still bickering playfully. Hello, Mrs. and Mrs. Foster and Mrs. Foster. Standing shoulder to shoulder, the two surveyed you and Derek. You wondered if they were checking to see if they were returning the Suarez son in the same state he'd left the house.
So?
That was quite a night, huh, gang? Wasn't it just? I think it was pretty unforgettable. Derek's face still had a full grin, and while the words were in response to your parents, he looked directly at you when he said them. Thanks for bringing us. Ma was smiling too, with an expression so soft it could have cradled a newborn chick. Good. Well, we'd better hustle. First stop is bringing Derek home, and it's already getting late. Elizabeth will have the place to herself for a while longer. If we're lucky, our house might still be standing when we get back.
Pam.
She swatted you, Mom, playfully, laughing at the comment. You cast one last look at the party. You saw people exchanging farewells and suppressing yawns. Most of the faces were happy ones, despite weariness that was starting to creep in. Derek lingering near you, waiting. The pair of you were still going to be left behind at the rate things were going. Turning away from the final moments of the summer soiree, you were left feeling grateful that you had such a good guest to keep you company the whole way through. You both easily caught up with your moms. They hadn't gone far. Together, the four of you navigated the crowded parking lot. Why no parking lot here? filled the room with cars from the other visitors. Ma unfortunately couldn't remember where exactly the car was. It took a short game of extra elegant or extra ridiculous, depending on your view, hide and seek, with a car to locate the familiar vehicle in the back corner of the lot. You clambered inside and Mom hit the road. It'd be a while before you'd arrive at Derek's home, so you let yourself settle in against the seat. You slunk lower and rested your head against the car door. Little blurs of light flashed by one after the other as the car sped past street lamps lining the almost empty road. After a little more than 10 minutes of silence, Derek extended his arms and legs all the way out while lifting them in the air and parrying it with a wide yawn. He looked like a sleepy starfish. Derek glanced at you through squinted eyes, a soft smile replaced the large gape in his mouth before. In the darkness of the back of the car, you rocked gently from the vibrations. He whispered to you, "You're great." Oh? You're great. Well, you're even better. You're really cute. Are you doing okay? Are you doing okay? Yeah. His eyes fell closed, the ends of his lips still pulled up. Do you think that brown-eyed dancer ever made it to the soiree? I bet he did, Derek. It's a new mystery. I hope so. Don't know, don't care. You can only offer a silent shrug. Really, she wouldn't give a shit about Baxter, but it's a new mystery. Yeah. Finally, you arrived at the condo complex. Your mom's insisted on escorting Derek into his actual house. He didn't protest. You, of course, tagged along too. It was a chance to stay with Derek a while longer. It would be too creepy to wait in the car. It would be too boring to wait in the car. It was a short walk to the building, through the modernly decorated lobby and up one floor across the hall of Derek's front door. He paused the journey, giving a second to give a warning. Oh! I wasn't sure if we'd get this, but I'm 100% sure now we're gonna get what I want to get. The perfect way to tip this moment off. A farewell to arms, shall we say. Get ready for it, because here it comes. We're gonna have to be really quiet. It's past my brother's bedtime. Oh, damn it. You and your mom's nodded as a group. Mom even went the extra mile by making a mock zipping gesture across her lips. That was enough for him, and Derek shoved a hand deep into his gray dress pants. He retrieved a loop of shiny silver keys. He cycled through the first couple on the ring. Because, it's true, this being our life, it's probably like super, super late already because time just goes by in a flash. Before carefully gripping the one he needed, it was slotted into the keyhole, twisted, and then the door was tugged slowly open. Derek went straight in. You followed in his heels. With Mom behind you and Mom got inside last, she shut the door. But we're going to Derek's house for the last little bit here. Lights were on in the main room, but it was an empty space. None of the four people here could be seen. The only sound was the clinking, rumbling of an active dishwasher. Derek bobbed his stretched out hands down low and back up, gesturing like a team captain for you to hold the line. Your mom gave a thumbs up. I run the dishwasher in the morning when I go out, so because that would keep me up. It's kind of loud. He tiptoed down the hall, hunching his shoulders up high. When he reached the last door at the end, he shifted from almost crouching to extending out at his tallest height. Then Derek gave the door a few light knocks. Mr. Suarez answered. His features lit up seeing who was there. Mrs. Suarez joined her son and husband right after. Mouths open and closed, they had an inaudible conversation on the other side of the condo. Their lips shut when Derek pointed to the entryway. Both Suarez parents took a step out of the room and one after in front of the other. They easily spotted your family there, huddled together with your moms dressed in formal attire. The three of you stayed put while they crowded through the hall. The room came alive with the pleasant greetings between the two pairs of grown-ups, though all in hushed tones. They offered a hello to you next.
Welcome.
Welcome to our home, foster family.
So good to see you.
Hello. Hi, we've returned your kid in one piece. It's good to see you too. You gave a shy wave. Hi, we've returned your kid in one piece. Oh, thank you. I see that. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Hello.
I'm sorry for keeping him out so late. Right. For a mostly elderly crowd, those country club goers sure can party into the wee hours of the night. From the side, Mr. Suarez snickered. Apologies to Nicholas. Apologize to Nicholas. Derek picked up on the little comment loud and clear. It made his teeth clench.
Aww.
He threw a fit, huh? The chuckles grew into full unobscured laughter.
Yes.
He was trying to drown us all in tears when the time to sleep came and his most loved person still wasn't home. Yeah, Junior wasn't pleased either in his way. So yeah, I was thinking about that. If he cut out on movie night, that was probably something Nicholas was really looking forward to. I was expecting a Derek's back as soon as we walked in the door. That's why I was getting excited. In contrast to his father's tickled amusement, Derek's mom frowned. She rubbed the opposite side of her forearms with her hand crossed over her chest.
Don't worry about that.
Derek and Marina can't be blamed for that. This was an important night. Yes, it is. Shh. Derek and his mom brought a finger to their lips to hush Mr. Suarez in a united chorus of disapproval. Derek's dad chuckled softly under his breath, rustling his beard. You got the impression he knew exactly what reaction he was going to get, and it was done on purpose. He played innocent and simply continued with what he wanted to say.
So?
How was the party? Fun? He tucked his fingers into the edges of his vest, puffing his chest. I know you of all our children were prepared to accompany someone to a proper social gathering. One day, when you are older, you can come with me to business dinners. Mr. Suarez's genuine pride over the whole event felt like a foreign language in comparison to your mom's love of teasing. But for Derek, that nod of approval made him just as bashful as your parents could do for you. Why does he keep doing that? We had a nice time. Thanks, Dad. Mr. Suarez beamed and gave her child an encouraging pat in the cheek, squashing his face between both hands.
That's great.
Thanks for getting Derek yesterday so we could talk. Thank you for letting Derek come with me to the party. I'm sorry for inviting Derek somewhere when you had plans. Yeah, this.
Please, don't worry.
I'm grateful to you for allowing Derek to attend. His parents were so nice, but that wasn't a surprise. Derek had to get it from somewhere. And have no fear. Junior and Nicholas will recount the movie so well it will be as if you'd saw it yourself. I already feel as though I've watched it myself 3 or 4 times. It was meant to be further encouragement, but the weight of self-imposed shame brought Derek's head down. His mother watched over him, her mouth open slightly before she had the words to say. Were you stressed about that tonight? Not coming to the movies with us?
Maybe. No more.
Derek, you have nothing to be guilty over. End of discussion. No more feeling sorry. For both of you. Derek's dad followed that up with a wholehearted agreement. When will there be another day to attend a summer soiree? A movie can be rented after it leaves the theaters. It will wait for you as long as you want. Just wait for streaming to be invented, Gregorio. Oh, I like the wink that Irene has here. I just noticed that. This is the most talking they've done in the whole game. Like in one sentence. They usually have really short lines for these people, but this is a whole discussion we're having. And so will we. We're not going anywhere. I'm surprised the moms didn't chime in at all. They're just kind of standing there watching this. Derek finally let himself embrace the fact that he'd done something just for himself, and that it was alright. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. I mean, that's an important thing for this guy, right? He always has to be the responsible one and be there for his family. He stood a little taller and seemed a little more grown up. They even worked that into the soiree. I'm impressed by the writing in this. Exhaling long and slow from his nose, Mr. Suarez spoke peacefully.
Young love is a beautiful thing.
No. No. That's not what this was about. It was like Marina being bored and wanting someone to hang out with, and we crashed Baxter's party. There's no young love here, and that was creepy that you fully voiced that. You questioned if you'd actually heard that right until you heard Derek. What? Wait, he says it. He says it.
What?
He might not have heard himself, though. Derek was such in a shock. He shouted out with a volume higher than you ever experienced from him at the worst possible time for it. Ah! A bushy brow raised on Mr. Suarez's head. He frowned, earnestly bemused. Uh-oh. Are we not gonna get away with it after all? What? Is that wrong? Derek snapped back with pained frustration. There was an audible whine in his tone. We're not in love! And then tiny rapid footsteps thumped across out over the hardwood. The echoes moved with purpose, and they were coming closer. An accepting sigh of defeat brought your attention away from the incoming commotion. Mrs. Suarez had folded her arms across her chest. Well, he's up. Derek clapped a hand to his face. He winced partially from the impact of that, but mainly from the consequence of his earlier action.
I hate to say it.
But we're gonna have to get Nicholas back into bed where he belongs. Time to call it a night, everyone. Oh no, I understand completely. Little ones can be such a handful. You can feel a pointed look being set your way. Not so little ones can be too, in different ways. A prim smile remained in place on Ma's face, but there was a smirk twinkling in her eyes. Derek's mom rested her hands back on her hips as she laughed musically. I must say that Nicholas having the energy of 3 is the price I must pay with what angels Derek and Jorge are. We'll survive it together. The two sets of parents exchanged the briefest goodbyes with each other, but they weren't any less friendly. There wasn't time to waste. Night, Marina. Sorry about this. The party was great. Good night. See you later. You were still a perfect gentleman, huh? It was amazing. Have a good night. Bye. Good luck with all that. No. He vaguely gestured toward the little brother's room. Thanks. He waved with a sleepy softness while you were ushered out by your mom and Ma. Before your mom could call this Polo Suarez's front door completely shut, a final squeal escaped through the crack. They wouldn't let it happen. It had to happen. They knew what they had here. 100% pure carrot. 100%. One more time for the record. 24 karat gold, baby. Best line in the game. And that was followed by the click of a lock in place. Derek had officially been returned to his family. He was no longer your guest. I think every Derek moment has at least one of those. Mom's heels clicked down the complex hallway with her head high and a grin played on her face. Now that's one way to end the night. I agree, Pam. If only Elizabeth would welcome us home with the same level of enthusiasm. They both laughed, covering their mouths and trailing glances like schoolgirls. You joined in with a giggle. It was easy to imagine the sour face she'd have to show the second you ride back home. You softly followed your parents, still in a daze over what Mr. Suarez said. You went along with a skip with your step fully content. Yep, this. It was hard to believe that actually happened. As your mom had said, your first independent farm party ended on a very memorable note. Yeah, Gregorio dropping the bomb there about certain things that we're going to learn about when summer ended next time.